Today, we're going to break down a crisis that just blew up in the world's most critical energy choke point. We're talking about a situation that has sent massive shockwaves through global trade and basically turned a vital waterway into a multi-billion-dollar toll road. Let's get into how this all went down.
So let's just start with this number, because it's really at the heart of everything. $100 billion. That's the mind-boggling amount of money Iran could potentially make every single year from a totally unprecedented new toll on ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. A figure like that, well, it changes the entire geopolitical game in the region.
And experts like Gregory Brew from the Eurasia Group saw it right away. This is not just about the money. This is about power. Iran has already shown the world it can shut down the strait if it wants to. Now, it's just cashing in on that threat. It's a brilliant move, strategically and financially, and it has the whole world scrambling for a response.
All right, so to really get our heads around how we got here and what it all means, we've broken this down into 5 parts. We're going to start with the toll road itself, then look at how the conflict is exploding, check out the economic damage, see how the world is reacting, and finally, talk about what it means to navigate this new reality.
Okay, let's kick things off with part 1, Iran's $2 million toll road. This is where a basic rule of the sea, one that's been around forever, was just completely torn up.
So the key date is March 28, 2026. That's when Iran's parliament passed a law that for all intents and purposes turned the Strait of Hormuz into its own private toll road. They started charging up to $2 million for a single trip through. Seriously, no other country has pulled a move like this in modern times. It set an incredibly dangerous new precedent.
Now, to put this into perspective, and this is what's so wild, at a potential $800 million a month, Iran's new toll puts it right up there with the Suez Canal, one of the most important and established commercial waterways on the entire planet. So yeah, this isn't some small-time operation. This is a massive state-level economic power play.
But here's the thing. A move like this doesn't just happen without consequences. And that brings us to our second section, the Gulf is on fire. Because this financial power play was really the spark that lit the fuse on a much wider war.
And just look at how fast everything spiraled out of control. The moment that toll became law, the attacks started. We're talking about ships getting hit in major ports like Dubai. And this is huge. Inside the waters of a supposedly neutral country, Qatar. With 25 attacks in just over a month, the entire region basically became a war zone overnight.
And let's be super clear about the attack on that tanker, the Aqua 1. It wasn't out in some contested international waters. No, it was just 17 nautical miles from Qatar's biggest export hub. This was a direct strike inside another country's territory. And just like that, the idea that you could be neutral in the Gulf, that was completely destroyed.
Which leads us straight to part 3, paying the price of war. Because with the Gulf literally on fire, the economic pain started spreading across the entire globe.
Okay, to really get the financial hit, you need to understand this term, the war risk premium. It's pretty simple, actually. It's just the extra cash you have to pay for insurance to send a ship through a dangerous place. And in the Persian Gulf, that premium, well, it just went through the roof.
Just look at these numbers. Before all this, the premium was tiny, a fraction of a percent of the ship's value. Now, it's as high as 10%. That's not just a small increase. That's an explosion in cost that completely changes the math on whether a trip is even worth it.
Let's break this down to make it real. Your average supertanker is carrying maybe $200 million worth of crude. Right off the bat, you're adding $20 million for that new insurance premium. Then another $2 million for Iran's little toll. And that's before you even think about the millions more it would cost to just avoid the whole mess and sail all the way around Africa. We're talking about staggering new costs being piled onto every single shipment.
And yeah, the experts are freaking out. The International Energy Agency is warning that the supply problems in April are going to be twice as bad as March. And get this, analysts at Macquarie are saying there's a 40% chance we'll see oil hit $200 a barrel by June. That's a price that hurts everyone everywhere.
So, what's the world doing about it? That's section 4. The world reacts. And the responses have been, well, they've been a really interesting mix of diplomacy, high-stakes gambling, and some quiet economic warfare.
On the surface, you see a lot of official action. The UK is holding summits, the US is releasing oil reserves to try and calm the markets. But under all that, there's this shadow economic war going on. The US started slapping heavy fees on Chinese ships, and China shot right back by detaining an unusually high number of ships linked to the US in its ports.
But while the politicians are talking, the
the big money is moving. A huge Chinese state-owned company just dropped $1.24 billion on 10 new supertankers. Now, this isn't a panic buy. It's a stone-cold, calculated bet that this crisis is here to stay, that ships will be forced onto those longer, more expensive routes for years to come, and they're positioning themselves to profit from it.
And that brings us to our final section, navigating the new reality. Because in all of this chaos, the rules of the game have totally changed. The most valuable thing on the ocean right now, it might not be the oil in the tanker, but the data telling the tanker where to go.
This whole crisis has completely redrawn the map of risk. It's not just about dodging missiles anymore. As you can see here, physical attacks are now just one slice of the pie. You've also got to worry about sanctions, cyber attacks, huge port backups. All of it is interconnected.
And happening at the exact same time as this shooting war is a new war over regulations. The EU's carbon emissions rules for shipping are now fully in effect. That means having perfect, auditable data on your emissions is no longer just some nice-to-have green initiative. It's a bottom-line financial requirement that can absolutely make or break your business. Which really brings us to the core lesson of this entire situation. In this incredibly chaotic new world, the biggest cost you face isn't that 10% insurance premium, or even the $2 million toll. The most expensive mistake you can possibly make is trying to navigate this minefield without good, real-time data. So we'll leave you with this to think about. In a world where a single voyage means dealing with missile threats, tangled sanctions, cyber attacks, and carbon taxes, what's your biggest risk, really? Is it the cost you can see, the cost of insurance? Or is it the cost of what you can't see, because you're flying blind?